This is a tale of three vices. That's the 3000 vise there, there's the 4000, and this is the 2000. This 2000 is an upgrade of the original Traveler series that was such a big hit. And there are some very nice upgrades in this vise. One of the best upgrades is this knuckle joint or hinged rotary arm that allows you to adjust the height of the hook without having to remove any screws or make any adjustments. I'm going to put a fairly large hook in here. This is a saltwater hook. And I'll tighten this up just enough to hold it and then rotate it. And you can see the hook rotates on its own axis with the jaw in that position. So when I take this hook out and I switch to a smaller hook, I'm going to have a wobble situation created by the change in height of the hook. So I hold this piece up to the end here, you watch this go, and you can see it wobbles up and down quite a bit. Now in the past, a lot of people would just deal with that, but here you have the knuckle joint or the hinged arm, and you see I can just move the hinged arm up, reposition the hook so this level of the table, and there it is rotating on its own axis again, just what you're looking for. And it's all a very easy task with this knuckle joint that has been designed into this. Now if I go back to a larger hook, I'll have the same wobble problem again because I did move the jaws up. You can see there's quite a drop there, and I just take the hook out, adjust that hinge so that the jaw assembly comes down, reposition the hook so that it's now parallel with the tabletop, and bango, I'm right back on the correct rotating axis for the hook. There's a little bit of wobble there, and I could just fine-tune that or just deal with it, and that small amount of wobble is not a problem. But this hinged arm is the key to this, and it's a feature that was only available on the Master series of vices prior to this. Now the cam action that locks these, you can see it's a very smooth action. There are roller bearings in there to make that always smooth and won't gall because of those roller bearings. And another nice feature of this, and it's common to all of the vices, is this adjustable bobbin cradle. And you can see as I move this cradle arm out and I tighten up the screw in the back to hold it a little bit, right there, that I've got it adjusted to the right length, but it's too loose and it just goes helter-skelter when I push it. Well, if I just tighten this white nylon screw against the shaft, and it's nylon so that it won't gall the shaft, I can keep that rotary bobbin cradle from moving out of the way and getting away from me or going to a position I don't want. And that little slide that I just slid down, you can see as you move this cradle, if you don't have that slide up against the bottom of it, the cradle will eventually just keep working down. You see the drop here, and I want that cradle to be right even with my jaws, so I'm going to slide it back up. And now I've got it nice and even, my bobbin will hang nice, and I move this little slide up, and with that slide up against the bottom of it, even if you've got it really loose like that, that bobbin cradle is going to stay at the correct height. Another nice feature is the base that's on this. It's larger than what was in the Traveler series of vices, and you can see here the Traveler base is a lot smaller, and the larger base does give you more stability and it moves around less. This is the 3000 series of vices, and it's a beautiful vise. As you can see, it's all stainless steel and bronze. Very, very nice looking vise. But if there's a drawback to this vise, it is the jaw's inability to hold larger hooks. This jaw is tightened by adjusting this big knob here at the bottom, and I've backed it all the way out and opened it up as wide as it can. And I'm going to put a size 2 hook in it, and this is about the largest size hook you would normally use. And as I clamp on this, you'll see that it holds quite well. You don't get any slippage with this size hook. You can see I'm moving that pretty forcefully, and also that at that setting it rotates right on its own axis with a size 2 hook. But if you wanted to go to a larger hook, I'm going to try to put a 2/0 saltwater hook in here, and you'll see a 2/0 saltwater hook is just not going to really work in this vise. I can't even get it in between the jaws, but I'm going to cheat here and bring the point down in, and then kind of slide it in, and the hook actually spreads the jaws to allow the hook to fit in. But even if you can manage to get it in like I did, you can't tighten it enough to keep that hook from slipping. But if you want to put a smaller hook in there, anything down to a size 28, you can put this in and it holds very, very nicely. I'm going to zoom in here so you can get a little closer look at this, and you'll see even without making an adjustment to the head of the vise, I have very little wobble here. That may look like a lot, but that's a size 22 hook. It isn't much of a wobble. But if the wobble bothers you, you can adjust it, and the adjustment on this particular vise is this Allen screw that I just circled with the white. You just loosen that and adjust the collet up a little bit, and your hook axis will rotate on its own center again. This is the Presentation 4000 cam series. This is a beautiful vise. It is all stainless steel and brass. This stem, as you can see, the bent stem and the vise stem are both stainless steel. It's just a pretty vise to work with, not to mention the fact that you can, by adjusting this screw, set the hook jaw range from size 28 to 4/0. In that 4/0 setting, when you clamp a hook in here, you can bend that hook right down around in a circle. The jaw clamps so well. I'm putting a good sized hook in here, and you can see it's just slipping, and that's because I didn't adjust this small screw on the side properly. I tighten it up just a little bit. Here, let me rotate this down so I can get at it easier. And set this hook down in here. I don't want it way down deep in there, but I don't want it way up here at the tip either. It's very hard for the jaws to clamp securely when you have the hook right up at the tip of the jaws like this, and the hook can wiggle and slip out, and that's just not a good thing for the jaws or for the hook. But if you set them down in, set the hook down in like this and clamp. See, I didn't put much pressure on that, and I've got a very good clamp situation here. And I've got almost a correct alignment here. Let me show you. We got just a little bit of wobble in this, and if I wanted to eliminate this wobble, there are a series of holes drilled on the side of the vise head. I've got one above the brass and one below the brass here, and then the screw is in the center hole. I would just drop this down, take that screw out, drop the jaw down, and put that screw back in the upper hole, and then my hook would rotate on its own axis and I wouldn't have that wobble. Now, swapping to a much smaller hook, I'm dropping down here to a size 20. And as I put this size 20 in here and clamp it, you can see I'm going to have a wobble situation again. As I turn this, it's quite a wobble. And the cure for that, or the adjustment for that, is the same, only in the opposite direction. You just take that screw out and you put it in the bottom hole instead of the middle hole like it is there, and that will take care of that wobble situation. But most people just live with the wobble. Now, this is a material clip, and again, it's standard for a lot of the vices, and I like to use this material clip on the edges like this. See how the springs open and close if you pull, and you can open it up, put your material right in it, and then just let it close. This center screw or rotary tension adjustment, I like to set the vise so that it will free wheel like it was, and then just bring that screw in to tighten it to what feels like the best rotary tension to you. And if you want to, you can loosen the back knob on this vise head so that you can ratchet this. Some people like that motion better than a full rotary motion. However, if you want the full rotary motion back, you just tighten that knob back in and the actuator locks and the ratchet is eliminated, and you're back to a standard rotating element. So those are the three vices. There's the 3000 there. It's a picture of the 4000. And this is a picture of the 2000 series, and they're all great vices, and you wouldn't go wrong tying on any of them.